Good afternoon. I am Vidya Sagar, Associate Professor in English in Aditya Degree College, Forensic Science Department. My subject is English, and students, I will be teaching you English and CSS, right? This is first semester, and in the first semester, this is your textbook. All of you can see the textbook, right? This is your textbook for English, and this is your textbook for CSS, right? So you have two units. I'll be dealing. This is two papers, English and CSS, right? And your English has a mixture of prose, poetry. You have a short story, a one-act play, and some language activities. Okay, and you'll be getting your textbook, all of you. Once you come to college, you'll get this textbook. This is your English textbook, and this is your CSS textbook, right? So my name is Vidya Sagar. I told you I'll be teaching you English. Okay, I am Vidya Sagar. Okay. So in for your syllabus, for the first unit, for the first mid, yeah, right. Okay. So So the syllabus is a bit like your school syllabus, like your syllabus in plus 2. Okay, so we'll be covering for the unit 1 prose, then unit 2 1 poetry, then unit 3 short story, then unit 4 one act play, right? Like that, and the grammar activities. And this paper is for 75 marks, the university semester examination, right? And the 50 marks we have for mid 1, 50 marks for mid 2. Okay, you have two mids, one mid 1 and one mid 2, 50 marks, right? So this today I will start with this textbook, right? So all of you, I think you are having a clear picture of textbook, and this is the these are the contents. These are the contents of the textbook: prose, poetry, short story, one act play, and grammar activities. Right. And the examination is mostly answer based. Right. You have to write essay answers, short answers, 5 marks and 10 marks. So today we shall start the first lesson, the Knowledge Society by APJ Abdul Kalam, and this syllabus is a mixture of different literatures. You have from the African literature, and then you have poetry, The Road Not Taken, that's an English poem from English literature, and then you have Night of the Scorpion, Indian literature, right? And you have a short story from Indian writer, and you have a short story from an American writer. So the syllabus is a mixture of different literatures: English literature, British literature, and you have some African literature, English literature, right? So I want all of you to try to understand the lessons and try to follow what I am trying to say in the class. So once you listen to what I am saying, you can write the answers based on your own understanding and your own thinking. Okay, so nothing much of that from the syllabus point of view. Then languages, you have language activity, that is also second half of your paper. The question paper consists of prose, poetry, short story, one act play. And second half, you have the grammar activities. You have the grammar activities. And the grammar activities, these are the grammar activities. Okay? Language activities. Under the grammar activities, we have sound, sight, sense, syntax, then articles and preposition, tenses, interrogatives, question tags. Right? So, your question paper consists of the first half of your question paper consists of prose, poetry, short story, one act play, and the second half consists of grammar items. Grammar items 5, 1 into 5, 5. Like that, you may have 4 or 5 items, right? Grammar items. And the prose, poetry, short story is essay type questions. You have to answer the essay type questions like 200 to 250 words. Yeah, approximately 200 to 250 words. You have to answer the prose, poetry, short story, one act play. Right. So, I think all of you, are you able to see this, the contents of this textbook? Are you able to see the contents, all of you? Right. So, prose, I will read out what we have. The Knowledge Society by Abdul Kalam. Then one more lesson, the Language of African Literature by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. So, 2 prose pieces. Then poetry, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Has anyone, I think most of you have done this in your school, okay, in your 8th class or 9th grade or 10th grade. I think you might have done this poem, The Road Not Taken. And one more poem, Night of the Scorpion, Nizam Ezekiel. He is an Indian poet. And you have a short story, The Lost Child, and by Mulk Raj Anand, and The Loaded Dog by Henry Lawson, and one act play, The Merchant of Venice, Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. We have only the last act 4, scene 1. Okay? We don't have the full Merchant of Venice, but only a short section is prescribed for the syllabus. So, this is the syllabus, 2 prose, 2 poetry, 2 short story, 1 act play. Right? So, for mid 1, we will be covering 1 prose piece, 1 poetry, 1 short story and grammar items. Then for mid 2, the next, 1 more prose, 1 more poetry, okay, short story and 1 act play and grammar items. That is it. That is how we divide the syllabus. Okay. So, first mid, 1 prose, 1 poetry, 1 short story, grammar items. For second mid, the next prose, the next poem, the next short story and 1 act play and grammar items. Right. So, the total paper is for 75 marks, university paper, and the mid papers, mid 1 is for 50 and mid 2 is for 50. Right. And this is your CSS. This is your CSS book, and this communication and soft skills. This is one paper, right, which you will be which I will be dealing with in the class. I will be taking it for you also, communication and soft skills. So, I teach right, communication and soft skills. Right, communication and soft skills. right? So these are the two papers I will be handling for you, okay? And look at this, the syllabus. This is the syllabus for communication and soft skills, and this paper is for 50 marks, right? Okay, you will be having 5 questions, 5 into 10, 50, and you will be having choice, internal choice, right? Okay, question number 1, choice AB, question number 2, choice AB, like that. So you will be having 2 choices for each question, and you can answer any one from that, and totally you will be answering the paper for 50 marks, right? Okay. So this today I will just start with English, the English textbook, okay. So mostly you have questions, short questions and essay questions, right? That is what we do in this prose piece. We do not have much of appreciation or picking from the context, but only essay questions, okay. We will be having only essay questions. So today I will start the first lesson. All of you just listen to me. Maybe the textbook is not in your hands. You won't be having the textbook in your hands. But I will just start the first lesson, right? And I will give you introduction for the first lesson, and just follow me. So when you come to college and when you have the textbook in your hand physically, then you can have a clear picture of what I am teaching you or telling you, right? Okay, so for every question, either it's prose or poetry or short story or one act play, I advise you to have a format for writing the answer. So when you write your answer, all of you know that, right? So first of all, you give introduction about the author, right? This lesson about the author, a brief introduction, and then you attempt the question, right? And then you come to conclusion. That's how your answer should be. Your answer should have a clear picture for the examiner when he corrects it. So for any question, whether it's a prose or poetry or short story or one act play, you begin your answer first 2 paragraphs about the poet or about the author, a brief information, and that information you will have it at the back of each lesson. At the back of every lesson, you will have a brief intro about the author, and even if you go to Google, you can know about the author. So anyway, that's not a big problem. So for every answer, right, that is the structure for your answer. Give an introduction about the poet, okay, then come to your answer and conclusion. So for every answer, I would advise all of you to have 3 steps, okay, like introduction about the poet or the author, then attempt the question, the body of your answer is the question that is asked, and the conclusion. So like that, if you give a neat presentation of your answer, you will get good marks, right? All of you can get good marks. I hope you understand. So I want you to attempt your answers in such a way, right? So for every lesson and every poem, we shall be dealing with the poet or the author, right? And also you can go to Google or you can go to books and gather some more information about the poets or about the authors, so you can write it down in your answers, right? And one more thing I would like you to include in your answers present day situations, the issues that are going on, right? Try to link your answers with illustrations, examples, if you know in examples, right, anecdotes, or try to include the sayings of great people in your answers, right? When you write your answers, make your answers attractive for the examiner so that you will get good marks, right? So I hope all of you understood. So when time comes for examination, I will explain in a detailed way. Don't worry about that, right? Don't worry about too much about that, right? So first we shall start the first lesson, The Knowledge Society by APJ Abdul Kalam. Now all of you know about APJ Abdul Kalam, and all of you are aware of who this great person is, right? And you know that he was not only a scientist, but he was also a writer. He was a writer, right? He had a taste for writing. And he was not only a scientist, he was not only a writer, he was also a great politician. He was a great politician, well-known politician, right? And a well-known president of our country all over the world. And Abdul Kalam, Mr. Abdul Kalam, you know that he was a scientist who was a pioneer in rocket space, rocket launching, okay, rocket designing, and nuclear designing nuclear reactors, right? He was a very clever man, right? And he had a great love for science, and he contributed a lot to Indian science and technology, right? He contributed a lot. He had a vast knowledge of physics or chemistry, rockets and spacecraft, and not only that, he was a very well-known politician, a good able administrator. He was an able administrator, right? And not only that, he was a good speaker also, right? Many universities and colleges invited him to give speeches, and he gave lectures even after he retired. Even after he stepped down from the presidency, he went around giving lectures and speaking in colleges and universities on different topics. So this lesson, Knowledge Society, Abdul Kalam writes about how India has developed from being an ancient knowledge society into a superpower, knowledge superpower. And Abdul Kalam, Mr. Abdul Kalam says that Indian education or Indian scientists, Indian thinkers they are on equal par with American or European scientists, right? And in this lesson he talks about our civilization, our great civilization, our rich heritage, okay? He talks about our rich heritage, our culture and our civilization. And I think all of you know that Indian civilization has a very great past, a very deep past. And we are the pioneers in some areas. We are the pioneers in the field of medicine. You can also say not only medicine, also in the field of space and technology, right? So Abdul Kalam talks in this lesson, or he writes in this lesson, how we can improve our knowledge, in what way we can improve our knowledge, and why we should improve our knowledge, right? So I shall start the lesson. Please try to follow carefully. Even though you don't have the textbook in your hand, I will just read it. Ancient India was an advanced knowledge society, right? So we are not newcomers to the field of education. India is not a newcomer to the field of education, right? For many years, right? Great thinkers, scholars, right? Rishis, saints, they wrote lots, and they even the ancient texts, they reveal about our heritage, they reveal about our great past. So ancient India, we can say that our civilization can be equal to the Egyptians or the Romans, okay? They were more knowledgeable, and we are also more knowledgeable along with them, equally with them, I can say that. So ancient India was an advanced knowledge society. Invasions and colonial rule destroyed its institutions and robbed it of its core competence. So you know that our civilization has been degraded, or our rich civilization has been destroyed, according to this writer, due to the colonial rules and the many invasions that took place in our country. And all of you know how many people, how many invasions have taken place in India, right? Right from the Mughals or right from the Persians, right? Then we had the British, then we had the Portuguese, the Dutch, and even some parts of India, the French colonized our country. So many invaders, and all these invaders, they have, I can say that they have modified or they have destroyed the ancient civilization that India had. That's what he says. Its people have been systematically degraded to lower levels of existence. So because of these invasions, the people of India have been relegated to lower levels of existence, right? You might not be aware that during the colonial rule, the British suppressed the Indians. I mean, we were not allowed to rise to higher positions in jobs or in various levels of societies. The British, they were the primary people, no? They were the, if you look at the judicial system or you take the education system, they were the headmasters, they were the principals, they were the directors of college education, they were the directors of school education. And they gave the ordinary levels or the ordinary post to Indians, like clerks or ordinary teaching jobs, the lower level jobs, peons. So these positions they allotted to Indians, and these British, they were in the upper levels, like dominating levels, like the principal or the director, okay, or the governor general. So these higher levels of management were occupied by the British, and we Indians, right, once upon a time before independence, we were relegated to lower levels, ordinary levels. We were the ordinary people. By the time the British left, our youth had lowered their aims and was satisfied earning an ordinary livelihood. India is essentially a land of knowledge, and it must rediscover itself in this aspect. Right? So the writer, Mr. Abdul Kalam, says that India is a land of knowledge. Yes, no doubt about that. We are a land of knowledge. Right? We have a great civilization, and all of you know about Mohenjo-daro and Harappa civilization, and all of you know about the great texts, ancient texts, and the Puranas, and you know about our great Mahabharata and Ramayana. So India is not India don't right. We need not think that India is a developing country. We can say that we are among the superpowers. We can put ourselves along with the superpowers, because we have a vast knowledge, and also you know that our country has great resources, right? Great resources and wealth. And the British, all of you know, when the British were ruling India, they plundered our resources, right? Our iron ore, our what is it, bauxite or magnesium or cotton, anything, whatever it is, the British, they plundered our resources, and we were just scapegoats. We could not do anything. We could not do anything, because at that time India was not the India that is what it is today, right? Once upon a time, India was consisting of princely states ruled by princes and kings and queens, and we were not united, right? We were not called as a country. Rather, we were divided according to rulers, princely rulers who were ruling parts of India, and that was a minus. That was a plus point for the British. They took advantage of it, because we did not have a form of government where we could fight the invaders. So it was easy for the British. They could easily invade into our, come into our country and establish a very strong foothold, and very slowly, for nearly 100 years, yeah, for nearly 100 or more than 100 years, the British ruled us. The British ruled us, right? And we were submissive to those people. We were very submissive. Right? We were very submissive because at that time we did not have a freedom movement. We did not have a freedom movement, and we did not have a kind of united people. Okay, later on we had Mahatma Gandhi and other great leaders who came together and they fought for independence. That's a different story. Okay, so India is a land of knowledge, no doubt about that. Okay, even till today we have produced great scientists, many great scientists who are well known all over the world. All of you know about Ramanujam, our great mathematician, and you know our scientist Chandran effect in physics, right? They have named one one entire discovery after him. And you know about Sir Homiji Baba, right? You know about Tata, J.R.D. Tata. So you know about all these people, great scientists and great philosophers who are all Indians. That's one thing. Okay, so we must rediscover it. So Abdul Kalam says, the youth should know about our country, right? The youth should rediscover our country. The youth are losing touch with reality, right? The youth are losing touch with reality. And we all should be, you're all young generation, and you, the young generation, should know about our scientists, you should know about our philosophers, you should know about our history, you should know about our great culture, about our heritage, right? You should be aware of all this. So, once this rediscovery is done, it will not require much struggle to achieve the quality of life, strength and sovereignty of a developed nation. So, Abdul Kalam says, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge can lead you to greater heights. Knowledge will give you wisdom. Once you get knowledge, you can do great things, right? That is why nowadays, our Indian government is giving more importance for education, educating all the people, right? Education for all the people. Every boy and girl should have education. So once you are educated, you will get knowledge, and once you get knowledge, you will have a successful life. You will have a meaningful life. That is what we can learn from this lesson. Okay, so tomorrow I shall continue. The session is over for now. And this is your textbook. So tomorrow I will continue with this lesson, the Knowledge Society. Any doubts or any clarifications, right? We can have a discussion tomorrow. Thank you.